Hello and greetings to everybody watching. My name is Maggie Cavanaugh. I'm your host. I have Kati Kiefer with me today, and I hope I didn't butcher your last name.
Nope, that's right. Kiefer is correct.
I love that because my youngest son's name is Keith, and whenever he was little, I used to call him Kiefer.
Oh,
so I thought that has to be how it's pronounced. So
that's correct.
Kati is a very impressive woman. She has an accounting background, and she's worked for 500 Fortune companies, and she has used the gifts and the talents that God has given her to formulate TrueSavers.com.
True Money Saver, right?
TrueMoneySaver.com. I need to start taking notes because I wanted to get that right.
No worries at all.
But she has got some amazing tips and tools and things that I have found helpful. I actually ran across her on Facebook. And, you know, a lot of you know that I know my guests somehow. And I just felt very led to reach out to her. And come to find out, she's a sister in Christ. We also share a dear mutual friend. And who knew? You know, our friend is in Georgia. I'm in Tennessee. She's in Florida. God has just a way of connecting his girls. Yeah, so, Kati, welcome to the broadcast.
Thank you so much. I'm so glad to join you today.
I'm super excited about you being here because people need the understanding of money management. I always talk about time management, and I always say, you know, time management it's really not available because we cannot manage time. We manage our lives to accommodate time, and we get 24 hours and we get to use that how we choose. And when I was looking at your system and your philosophy, I was like, she gets it because she knows that you just can't slap a budget out there because life happens.
Right.
So
right.
What drew you to start this business in the first place?
Well, actually, originally it was because of couponing. And if you've seen those TLC scary extreme couponing shows, I am the exact opposite of that. And my friends always called me the reasonable couponer because I'm crazy about ethics. And so I have called more than one marketing team of manufacturers to say, are you sure you know how this coupon is going to be used? Because I'm going to use this to get $300 worth of groceries for like $50. And they would say, oh my goodness. Yep, that can be used like that. I mean, it was crazy, but couponing couponing died down because bad stuff started happening. Unfortunately, that ruins things, you know. And so then I shifted my focus because I'm an accountant. I was an accountant before I was a mom. And so I love numbers. I love spreadsheets. Everything is in spreadsheets for me. All of my kids' chore charts are all in spreadsheets. It's pretty bad, but that's how my brain thinks. I say Excel is my love language. So then I started putting out content on my website about personal finance things and things that like how my husband and I were managing our money because we've always lived on one income because we're a homeschool family. And so that intrigues people to say, that's not possible. You know, that goes against the norm. And so I shared those tips and that took off. And in January of last year, several friends had asked me, what are you using? What should I use for my budget? You know, it's January, everybody's gung ho for budgeting. And I was like, oh, you should use this app or this product or this one, go look into those, you know, several different things. And my husband was like elbowing me and he'd say, we don't use any of those things. So why would you tell all of our friends to use those? And I was like, oh, they don't want my simple thing. They don't want my little spreadsheet that takes me like 15 minutes a week. They want like the pretty ones and the ones that cost monthly and the ones that, you know, like would do this and this and this and, you know, like graphing or whatever. And my husband said, nope. I'm really sorry. They want simple. They want what you use. And I was like, oh, that hurts, you know? So he said, okay, we'll make a pact. You put it out there and see what they do. And I was like, all right, I got nothing to lose, you know? So I prettied it up a little bit because mine was super ugly. And everyone loved it. We sold 140 in 4 days. And I was like, oh, darn it. James was right. That's the worst part. His head gets big, you know? He says, you have to listen to me from now on for your product. So that started a totally different trend on my site of sharing my love of spreadsheets and opening up to allow the Lord to use them too. So
I love that. I love that because, it is the things that we are passionate about. And apparently you're passionate about being able to run a household on one income. How many of y'all watching, and for the viewers watching today, I just want to note, we'll go back after the broadcast and answer any questions and so forth. So don't think that we're shunning you if you're asking questions during this, but it is great that you use what was in your hands. And that's what God tells us, use what's in your hand. What makes your heart beat really strong about, obviously staying home and being able to homeschool your children it's a blessing. Yeah. And I know a lot of homeschool moms that may be watching this. I teach at a homeschool tutorial on a regular basis, leadership and public speaking. It is. And I'm like, because I was not, when I was raising my kids, I became a Christian when I was raising them, but I didn't have the availability or the stamina that it takes to homeschool my kids, but I'm passionate about it. So when I see moms that are doing it and doing it right, I get real excited. And that's what drove this, it sounds like, is to be able to live off of one income. So if y'all are watching this and you're saying, I can't afford to homeschool, I want you to stay in the broadcast and I want you to wait to the end because Katie's got a special offer for those that are watching the Keys to Your Best Life broadcast. And I want you to check it out so that you can get in on savings because she's all about savings.
That's right. Maximizing your money. That's what it's about. It's about making those little tiny amounts go further. They have to go far.
They do. So I love your philosophy. So share with them a little bit about your philosophy, budgeting versus, maintaining your spending.
Yeah, so I am super uncommon in this financial guru area where everyone loves a zero-based budget. And the reason why is because I worked for Baxter Healthcare International, which is an international healthcare company, and I was in their manufacturing plant down here in Florida. So I was in the finance department and I managed millions of dollars of fixed assets and payroll, and I loved my job. This was before my daughter was in kindergarten, before we started homeschool. And I did zero-based budgets regularly. Every single month we would have budget meetings and do BVAs, our budget versus actual analysis. And so I understand the concept of that. And when my husband and I took a program, an expensive program, to learn what was going on, I was like, oh, I got this. Like, this is my area, right? But it didn't translate to personal finance. Like, when we started to actually spend things, if we did say things were tight and we had to use our clothing budget for food, or for gas or for something, because real life happens, then the kids needed shoes. And we were like, well, what are we supposed to do? Just not buy shoes? No, that is not what happens in real life. In real life, you still buy the shoes. And then you're like, okay, I'll worry about the budgeting later because I don't know what I'm going to do about it, So out of that necessity for like being frustrated with budgeting is not working. What is it? Me? Is it the budget? And listening to those voices that are all those budgeting financial gurus saying, oh no, you got to budget, you got to budget, you got to budget. That I think that word becomes a bad word, and we think, no, something doesn't work. So I figured out that instead, reverse engineering that budget based on your current spending of what you're doing and forecasting out your future bank balance to see what impact your money has. That was when it clicked. I was like, wait a second. Like at the end of the month, you can, with Excel and spreadsheets and stuff, you make it go backwards to say you spent, now this is within just a quick month, you spent money on those shoes and is that what you want to do going forward? So you have like a quick window where you can look back and then also look forward to see, are we going to be, if we do buy the shoes, are we going to be out of money? Or are we going to have an abundance this month and we can shimmy some over to savings because we've got a long-term goal to go on vacation with our family this year or whatever, And so it finally clicked and made sense. And then I've been doing that ever since. So that's probably been 10 years that I've been doing that stinking spreadsheet and just every month, logging in and figuring it out. So it's a totally different concept from reverse budgeting where you don't really set it up ahead of time, especially because what everybody says, what's the key thing is that they say, make a plan for your money, like plan where it's going to go or else you're, plan for where to put it instead of where it's gone. I'm getting that wrong, but it's something like that. And I'm like, that's not really what happens, because you can plan all you want. And then really, if you think about it, the Lord directs our steps, I mean, we can plan and go, okay, well, I'm not going to buy shoes this month. And then we realize that our son grew 3 sizes in a month. And you're like, well, I can't, your toes are poking out of those shoes. We are going to have to get the shoes for your feet. And so then, you have to see how life actually starts to play out and how it impacts your future. So forecasting future was what made the difference in all of our money. So
wow, that is just, and it's kind of like, in this world, we're in this world, but not of this world. And so there may be a mass majority as a saying, go this way, do it this way. But yet the Lord showed you a way to do it that really worked for your situation. And now it's helping countless people.
Right.
So
Right. I had a comment just a couple weeks ago on one of my advertisements, because I do advertise out there on Facebook. And she said, just in 1 week of looking at this, I realized I had overspent by $700 last month. Like, she wouldn't have caught that. I mean, that just makes my heart like burst, because so many people don't realize that, yeah, it's there. Like, the money is in there, but we don't really notice it until we start to manage it and pay attention. And so just a little bit of attention will make all the difference in the world.
Oh my goodness, yes, because we have to be able to take a look at things. I think a lot of times people, they're so busy, they just stick their head in the sand.
Yeah, I don't want to face it. Yeah,
how much is in there today? Okay, well, I'll deal with that later. And I've been there personally myself, feeling the sense of overwhelm. You have a ministry of business and running a household, and there's so much coming in. What would you say to that person that's operating in overload? Like, where should they start? I mean, obviously, we know your program works, and we'll talk about that towards the end. But for that person that's going, I don't even want to look at the spreadsheets, I'm so overwhelmed.
Yes. Okay. I have easy. First of all, you're overthinking it. So you have to back out and go, okay. Calm down. The answers are here. And I would take a calendar, like print out a paper calendar from Google's calendar. You know what I mean? Like, just print out this month and start today. And I would make a list of your bills and write them in the date on the calendar. You know what I mean? Just write the date, and then just look at your bank balance today. You don't have to go back at all, and just and then calculate what bills are going to come out tomorrow. What's our balance going to be? What bills are going to come out the next day? What's our balance going to be? So you're tracking that bank balance. And as you start to do it, believe it or not, it gets a little bit fun, because our brains want to keep filling out that date to go, well, wait a second. Next month is, like, we've got spring break coming up here. Maybe we want to go for a couple days to to an Airbnb or something. I wonder if we would have enough money to do that. And then you start calculating out. So you don't ever have to go backwards. You don't have to look back and go, whatever past mistakes are there, they're gone. They've been washed by the blood of Jesus. We can leave them alone. Like, if you really, just move on, right? And so that allows you to have a sense of calm and a sense of peace, because you're now looking forward as to what's happening. And with or without my program, like, my program just does this part automatically, that calendar part. So
I love it.
But you can do it without it. You know what I mean? Like, just one day at a time. Take a step forward.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, it's worth the investment, because if things are simpler, people are more apt to do it. And they want to be handed, and not necessarily fed. Spoon,
right?
Yes, but they want to be handed the tool so they can look at it and say, okay, this makes sense. I'm going to write this and then that, and then I'm going to look at these dates and so forth. I love the fact that it gives them hope.
Yes. Oh, hope. Hope is our anchor, right? I mean, we have to have the hope, because, gosh, you can, first of all, we're bombarded with the world telling us we need a new car, we need a bigger house, we need more clothes, we need decoration. You know what I mean? There's that bombardment that's pressure, so much pressure. Yes. And then we feel the guilt of having either bought that or needing to buy it or wanting to buy it, even just guilt of wanting to. And so to quiet those voices or the noise and realize that your own personal relationship, what's happening in your own stewardship of your money is going to be okay. No matter what, even if I have been in tens of thousands of dollars of debt, like in and out of debt so many times that debt no longer scares me. I mean, that's like the reality of it is like, hey, sometimes sometimes there is no other option. I'm sorry, but there is sometimes no other option. But to learn from it and go back and be able to make it right again is hope. There's always hope.
Yes, yes. I'll tell you, I wish I would have known some of these things when I was younger, raising my kids and so forth. So if you were listening to this broadcast today and you're thinking to yourself, wow, this is really great. I can use this. Think of the people in your sphere of influence that can use it too, because I'll tell you, it's something people want to talk about money. It kind of ranks up there with politics, even though people are running their mouths a lot about politics.
Right.
But, it's one of those almost like not taboo, but it's one of those uncomfortable things because we don't realize, and I'm talking to myself as well as the majority of people, money is a gift and it all starts with God. And, we have to be good stewards.
Yes, it really and truly, it's his. It's not even ours. We think we work this job and we're getting paid for it with those gifts that God's given us anyway. So, and I have, it's tough, but when in the finance world, a lot of people don't even want to touch the tithe discussion, and I have seen, without going into it at all, because I'm not going to make that go crazy, but I have seen personally where when we were not tithing, it was tougher. Yeah. And when we just implemented a teeny tiny $5 a week tithe to be able to say, Lord, you know what? I am going to give this. It changes your heart. It changes your intent to realize, oh, none of this is really mine. I can give a sense of offering just once a week to show my thankfulness. It's life changing. Like I would say, that's the game changer. Yes. That changes everything.
I have a friend, speaking of tithing, I have a friend that literally gave her way out of poverty. Her and her mother got a revelation of tithing and giving years ago. And they basically really, and now their house is paid off. They're like, but they're not flashy. Don't get me wrong. They're not out there, flashy. Right. But God always has it available. And I know it's because of their heart condition. And that's what we're talking about. We're talking about, God owns a cattle on 1,000 hills and he can take care of your needs, but he really wants your obedience. And so that is a major thing. And, I personally for years struggled off and on with it whenever I first became a Christian because here. There we go. Woo. Oh, we froze up for a second. Oh, no, the devil is a liar. We're going to talk about the tithe. I don't know. Did you see that broadcast blimp?
Yes, it did.
Anyway, are you there? Yeah. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you okay. Yes.
There we go. Okay. So, but anyway, you're right. It will go further. And I'm glad that, that's what attracted me to you. Because when I purchased your program, I did not know you were a Christian. And after I purchased it, I was like, thank you, God, because I've been asking God. We all know, and I won't mention names, we've tried envelopes or we've done different things and eat beans and rice and so forth. So, but yours it takes the complexity of everything and it simplifies it. And puts it in a way that it's manageable. And so I'm super excited to go, further into it and dig through it and get it, really rolling for both the ministry and the business and the household, because that's what it starts with. It starts with your yes, you guys. Your yes to saying, I'm tired of stressing out about this. I'm tired of feeling like, where did it all go again? I'm tired of looking at my spouse and them saying, well, wait a minute, because how many times I bet couples, and I was a marriage counselor for years. I still do some marriage counseling, but I can tell you right now, this is one of the biggest things that would come up in sessions.
Oh, yes. Yes. I think it's number 2 for divorce.
Yeah. It's right up there.
Yeah. And it impacts all other areas of our life, but we don't give it the importance. You know what I mean? We ignore it. We're like, I don't want to see, I don't want to know, I don't want to think about it. It makes me feel uncomfortable. And it deserves a little bit more paying attention.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And what we focus on, we have to focus on what matters. And when it comes down to it, at the end of the day, we are spirit, soul, and body. And I'll tell you, spiritually, you can be in a good place and you can be dealing with your soulish issues as well and your physical body. But if you're under stress, all of that will be affected.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
you see that a lot with clients that purchase your programs.
Oh, yes. The burden is so hard. And they'll email me and say, and even having the simple program say, I am so overwhelmed with even just, I don't want to look at my bank. I don't even start there. And it's like, I totally understand. And I can walk you through it. Let's do little teeny tiny steps. Let's just start with what's the first number and then we'll go forward.
That's so good. And that gives a sense of comfort because we don't want to have to do anything alone. We want to do, we heal in community and we learn in community. And that's what your program has created. So listen, y'all, she's got a special offer for the Keys to Your Best Life audience. And you can go to, and I wrote it down because I don't want to jack it up here. Hold on. If you go to truemoneysavers.net. No, I'm sorry. Scratch that. Yeah. Her website is truemoneysavers.com, or saver.com. But if you go to cashflowformula.net, you can get a special offer through this broadcast. So whether you're watching this on the replay, how long is that available, Katie?
I'm not going to put a time limit on it.
Because, cool.
Yeah, I really just, I'm not going to put a deadline. If you feel led, that's great. If you want to go to my website to truemoneysaver.com, then I have sample spreadsheets, like free 1 month sample that you can get for free and try that out first. There's, but I'm not going to put a limit on it because I don't want to.
That blesses me.
Because only this. It's basically just for these viewers, you know what I mean? Your viewers. And so whenever they're watching this, it'll be live.
Excellent. That makes me very happy because you may be watching this on Periscope and you may be watching this on YouTube, or you may be watching it on Creative Motion Network. So listen, y'all, you want to go to that. And for those of you watching it on Creative Motion, and since you're not going to have access to a chat stream, I'm going to say it again. It's cashflowformula.net. cashflowformula.net, and you can rewind if you need to write that down. But listen, on truemoneysavers.com, which is Katie's website, there is a plethora of information on there. So talk about some of the resources, so if they want to go check that out.
Well, I have like a 3-step program where not a plan on my site. First, I help you with grocery savings to save immediately with how, not the couponing side of things like I started, but really like substitutions and just ways to practical, sneaky ways that people don't think about to reduce their groceries, because that gives you instant money. Then I teach you budgeting tips of ways which are really reverse budgeting or like anti-budgeting, practical tips to help you manage your money, because now you have a little more of it since you're spending less on your groceries. And then that next step is how to pay off debt, because so many of us are plagued by debt. Even like I still have a mortgage, so sure, that counts as debt. We have 2 0-interest car loans. That still counts as debt. And so there's ways to also help with that and get you out of, just get your whole money situation better under control.
I love that. I absolutely love that. And I'm glad that you mentioned the fact of the grocery shopping issue, because that's one of our highest expenses. It really is.
It usually is. It's second to the mortgage. Usually it's the mortgage and then the groceries. Mm-hmm.
Yes. And I thought that was just me until I started looking at this, and I'm like, I'm not alone. So, we eat very healthy and so forth, but I look for ways to find deals and purchase and, freeze. And I do all of these type of things, but there's more tools on there than that. And I encourage you to get through that. For people that are still couponing, because I still use some coupons, what's the best way in this day and age? I know that there was massive craziness that took place. I know that there was borderline manipulation and using the system and so forth. Is there a healthy boundary or a balance for that right now?
Yes, there is. The main source for your coupons is going to be in your newspaper. even though it's very, very thin, it used to have hundreds of coupons each week. Now it's got like 20, so it's kind of small. But you look at the sale that's happening now, and then you look for coupons that are typically in this week or maybe a week or two before, and then you just use them on the sale. So that's the best way to maximize those savings,
That's good.
Now, I also, though, shop a lot at Aldi because they've got organics and they are very inexpensive. So you have to think pricing of, is it cheaper to buy it on sale with a coupon or to just get the generic Aldi brand, also. There are taste differences. My kids say, oh, Doritos from Aldi are like, we joke, and there's Clancy brand, and they'll say, is it a Clancy Dorito or a real Dorito? Because there is a difference. But if you're eating a Clancy Dorito, then it's fine because you're not expecting a real Dorito, So.
For those of you that don't have Aldi's, I pray you get one because Aldi's is a great place, and they actually, I really respect the fact that they don't use a lot of coloring and dyes and different things. Yeah. They use if they need a color red, it is done with beet juice. It is done in a way where it's not as harmful to your body, because we know here in the U.S. we're basically, you're going to pay. You're going to pay some way with your health. Or, or your doctor bills of some sort, right. And so forth. And so for a family staying at home to be able to get organics at a reasonable price is great. So yay to Aldi's. So if y'all are Aldi shoppers, put it in the chat stream. Yay, Aldi's. So that is a great thing. So listen, that's just one little snippet. Okay. One little snippet of some of the things that you can find. So I encourage you, I want you to go to her Facebook page and follow everything that she does, because you never, we cannot get enough tips and keys and tools to be able to do this thing we call life effectively. And this is a big thing. It changes everything. So many people say stuff like, well, I wish I could do this, or I wish I could do that. And I'm like, okay, well, we're going to have to make some necessary changes to reach that. Maybe you can't today, but by looking at it, you can change your tomorrow. So, Katie, if I was to ask you to leave the viewers with a key, so to speak, what would that key be?
I would say think small. There's a quote from Benjamin Franklin that says, even a small leak will sink a big ship. And to back that up with scripture, Luke 16:10 says, whoever can be trusted with very little can also be trusted with much. And so we see that if you can break it down to just thinking about changing, let's say for your groceries, if you just can spend $10 less this week, then multiply by 50, you've got a good amount at the end of the year, So thinking small is the key. I just think small.
I love that. I love that. And that is true. That teeny tiny thing can sink you. And if you don't look at it, I'm going to promise you're going to get buried. It's like going to the beach with sand and you're just putting a little bit over your feet. And if you just keep it going and going, you're going to be covered up. You're going to be smothered. It's going to cause some problems. And, the whole thing about Keys to Your Best Life is to see people live whole and walk in freedom, spirit, soul, and body. And financial burden brings on stress, which ends to disease, dis-ease, and all kinds of things that come. So I encourage you, get these resources. Katie has made it very affordable. I mean, I'm talking affordable. I'm talking less than $20, way less than. Thank you, Katie, for doing that for the viewer. Yes. So again, go to cashflowformula.net, N-E-T, and get that today, because you're going to be glad that you did, or gift it to someone that yes, because they're, maybe you have some grown kids, or maybe you have, matter of fact, I think I'm going to get one for my oldest son and daughter, because they like stuff like that. I hadn't thought about gifting it till just now, but it's a great gift. Giving the gift of knowledge and organization is like, woo! You can never have too much of it.
Makes life easier, right?
Absolutely. So, good. Katie, I want to thank you for being on the broadcast, and I hope you'll come back at a later time where we can dig in, is because I would love to see the viewers become free in the area of finances, and that's exactly what you're teaching people to do. And I'm so grateful.
Amen. I would too. I would love to be back. It would be great. It's been an honor to join you today. I'm so glad that Facebook connected us.
I know, right? I love it. I absolutely love it. With all of the unnecessary craziness that goes on, there's good things that come from it. So
yes, there are. Yes.
I appreciate y'all. Y'all check her out. Okay. Go to her website, check out the resources, and do yourself a favor and your friends or your kids or whoever that needs it a favor, and get them this resource so that they can get their financial freedom as well. Thank you so much, Katie.
You're welcome.